The city was a symphony of noise, and I was lost in its orchestra. Every morning, the alarm clock screamed, launching me into another day of rushing. Sirens, car horns, and the collective murmur of a million lives created a relentless hum. I moved through my days on autopilot, a ghost in the machine. At work, the buzz of lights and endless notifications drowned out any sense of peace. Evenings brought no escape, just more screens, more noise, more distraction. Surrounded by connection, I'd never felt more alone, disconnected from my own core. I was so busy listening to the world tell me who to be, I'd forgotten to ask myself what I truly wanted. My name is Elara. In the mirror, I saw a woman I barely recognized, her eyes shadowed by exhaustion. I went through the motions, a practiced smile masking a deep disconnect. It felt like I was playing a role, following a script written by others. The applause promotions, compliments felt empty, because the real me wasn't even on stage. I envied those who seemed at home in themselves, while I felt adrift. My heart had no vote in my decisions. It was a silent partner in my life. Even with friends, I held back, afraid to reveal my confusion. I was so busy performing Elara that I'd forgotten how to simply be Elara. The loneliness of that reality was becoming too heavy to carry. The change began with a whisper. In my dreams, I dreamt of quiet forests and a black crow watching me with knowing eyes. These dreams brought a calm that lingered after waking. Then, small synchronicities crept into my days. A text from an old friend, a sudden urge to change my route. At first I dismissed them as coincidence, but the pattern grew. Song lyrics offered advice, gut feelings guided choices. It was as if the universe was speaking in symbols and feelings, bypassing my overthinking mind. The most powerful guidance was a simple yes or no in my gut. I started to listen, declining draining projects, accepting invitations that felt light. These were the first true messages from my inner self. Quiet, persistent, and finally, I was learning to listen. My curiosity led me to a quiet bookstore where I bought my first tarot deck. That night, I pulled the Hermit, a figure alone holding a lantern. The cards became a mirror, reflecting my inner landscape. They didn't predict the future, they revealed my own stories and feelings. The tower appeared during chaos, the star during hope. Tarot became a conversation with my deepest self, giving voice to feelings I couldn't name. The ritual of shuffling and drawing cards brought clarity, not answers. It was a tool for self-reflection, bypassing logic to tap into intuition. The tarot taught me to look within for guidance. The wisdom I sought was already there. I realized intuition wasn't some mystical force reserved for a select few. It was, in fact, a spectrum of spiritual senses, a range of perceptive abilities that we all possess to varying degrees. These senses are like inner guidance systems, constantly offering us information and insights, if only we knew how to tune in and listen. Naming them, giving them definition, made them real, gifts waiting to be unwrapped, skills waiting to be honed. It was like discovering a hidden treasure chest within myself, filled with tools I never knew I had. Clairsentience, or clear feeling, was my first major discovery, the ability to perceive information through physical and emotional sensations. It manifested as the gut sense, that immediate feeling you get about a person or situation, the energy of a room, the subtle shifts in the emotions of others. It was about sensing beyond the surface, picking up on the unspoken cues that permeated the atmosphere. For so long, I dismissed it as being too sensitive, a weakness rather than a strength. I thought I was just easily overwhelmed by the world around me. But now I saw it as a gift, a powerful tool for navigating the world with greater awareness and compassion. It was a superpower in disguise. Clairaudience, or clear hearing, the ability to receive information through sounds, words, or inner voices. For me, it often manifested as the wise inner voice, a lyric or phrase that arrived just when I needed it, offering guidance or comfort. It was like having a personal mentor whispering in my ear. Sometimes it was a gentle, loving thought, a wave of reassurance that washed over me in moments of doubt. That felt distinctly different from my usual chatter, the constant stream of thoughts and worries that occupied my mind. This was something else, something wiser and more compassionate. Clairvoyance, or clear seeing, the ability to receive information through images, symbols, or visions. For me, this showed up in vivid dreams, those nighttime adventures that felt so real, and quick mental images that flashed across my mind's eye. Simple symbols like a feather floating in the wind or a specific color, offering guidance and insight into my current situation. Understanding these senses demystified intuition, making it less intimidating and more accessible. It wasn't some kind of magic reserved for a chosen few, those with special gifts or abilities. It was, instead, a natural part of being human, an inherent capacity that we all possess, waiting to be awakened. These spiritual tools, these intuitive senses, were available to anyone willing to listen, to anyone willing to explore their inner landscape. All it took was quieting down the noise, turning inward and paying attention to the subtle whispers of your own intuition. My journal became my sanctuary, a sacred space where I could pour out my thoughts, fears, and burgeoning hopes without judgment. It was more than just a book. It was a confidant, a silent listener to the unraveling mysteries of my life, a place to process whispers and visions, those fleeting images and intuitive nudges that danced at the edge of my awareness. I would meticulously record every detail, every sensation, hoping to decipher their hidden meanings. The candlelight seemed to amplify the magic held within those pages. I wrote about dreams, those nocturnal journeys into the subconscious, where symbols spoke louder than words. I sketched the landscapes, the characters, the bizarre scenarios, trying to capture the essence of their messages. Each dream felt like a piece of a larger puzzle, waiting to be assembled. Tarot cards became another tool for navigating the unknown. The shuffling of the deck, the deliberate placement of each card, felt like a ritual, a conversation with the universe, and synchronicities, those uncanny coincidences that seemed to defy logic, connecting the dots between seemingly unrelated events. I meticulously documented each one, searching for patterns, for clues that would reveal the underlying order of things. Nature became my teacher, a wise and patient guide, offering lessons in resilience, interconnectedness, and the cyclical nature of life. The rustling leaves, the babbling brook, the soaring birds, all spoke to me in their own unique language. I took mindful walks, slowing down my pace, paying attention to each step, each breath. It was a way to reconnect with my body, to ground myself in the present moment, and to quiet the incessant chatter of my mind, noticing the details, the intricate patterns on a leaf, the delicate fragrance of a flower, the rough texture of tree bark, grounding myself in the present. These small observations became anchors, pulling me back from the swirling currents of anxiety and fear. The city's noise faded, its relentless energy no longer held the same sway over me. I was learning to create my own inner sanctuary, a place of calm and stillness that could withstand the chaos of the external world. As I found pockets of peace, hidden gardens, quiet cafes, forgotten corners where I could escape the urban frenzy and reconnect with myself. These small havens became essential to my well-being. The crow from my dreams began to appear in real life, a tangible manifestation of the inner shifts I was experiencing. It was no longer just a figment of my imagination, but a creature of flesh and blood, a messenger from the other side, a symbol of magic and transformation, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always the potential for renewal and rebirth. Its presence filled me with a sense of wonder and possibility. Seeing it felt like a wink from the universe, a playful acknowledgement of my journey, a sign that I was not alone on this path. Its intelligent gaze seemed to penetrate my very soul, a reminder I was on the right path, even when the way ahead seemed uncertain and fraught with challenges. The winding path through the forest mirrored the twists and turns of my own life. My journal filled with sketches and reflections on the crow and transformation, a visual record of my evolving understanding of its significance. The pages became a tapestry of images and words, weaving together the threads of my experience. One entry read, "A snapshot of a particular moment in time, a glimpse into my inner world." The crow saw me again today. Its dark eyes held a knowing glint. It feels like a friend checking in, a silent companion on this solitary quest. Its presence is both comforting and unsettling. I pulled the death card. A symbol that once filled me with dread now held a different meaning. Not an end, but a transformation, a necessary shedding of the old to make way for the new. The butterfly emerging from the skull was a potent image of hope. I am shedding old skin, releasing outdated beliefs and patterns that no longer serve me. It's a painful process, but also liberating. Learning to fly, embracing my newfound freedom, and soaring towards a future filled with possibility. This dialogue with the world made my inner life richer, more vibrant, and more meaningful. I was no longer just an observer, but an active participant in the unfolding drama of existence. Magic was real, not in the sense of fantastical spells and potions, but in the sense of interconnectedness, of hidden meanings, of the power of intention. And I was finally paying attention, opening my eyes to the subtle signs and synchronicities that had always been there, waiting to be noticed. The world was speaking, and I was finally learning to listen. Intuition is like a muscle, it needs exercise to grow strong. My daily life became my gym, every small choice was practice. I started by asking my body what to wear or eat, tuning into subtle signals. These low-stakes exercises taught me to trust my feelings. Gradually, I applied intuition to bigger decisions, conversations, emails, even playful predictions. It wasn't about being right, but about tuning in and recognizing the signal. Ignoring my intuition became my greatest teacher, reinforcing its importance. Each time I honored it, my trust grew. Each time I ignored it, I learned. Slowly, the voice of my intuition became clearer and stronger. A profound shift occurred. The city's hum faded into the background. I discovered a new kind of silence, rich and vibrant with the music of my soul. In this inner quiet, I found peace, independent of external chaos. My body relaxed, my breathing deepened, and genuine contentment surfaced. The need to rush dissolved. I learned to simply be. My apartment became a sanctuary, filled with things that brought me joy and calm. I curated my digital world, choosing uplifting content and letting go of the rest. My home reflected my inner state, calm and clear. The greatest gift was clarity. My own desires and dreams surfaced gently from the quiet. I was no longer lost in the world's noise. I was listening to my own soul. The journey inward, a path less traveled perhaps, but infinitely more rewarding, ultimately led me home. It was a winding road, filled with unexpected turns and breathtaking vistas. Each step was a lesson, each challenge an opportunity for growth. It wasn't about finding a physical location, not to a place on a map, but to my own center, the very core of my being. A place of stillness amidst the chaos, a sanctuary within myself. It was about rediscovering that inner compass, the one that always points true north. The woman in the mirror was no longer a stranger, a masked performer playing a role. She was a familiar friend, a cherished companion. I began to recognize the depths of her strength, the resilience of her spirit. Her eyes shone with knowing light, reflecting the wisdom gained from navigating the labyrinth of self-discovery. They held a spark of understanding, a quiet confidence that radiated from within. The feeling of acting, of pretending to be someone I wasn't, was gone. The heavy cloak of expectations had finally been shed. I was simply a Lara, living authentically, embracing my imperfections and celebrating my unique gifts. No longer striving for an unattainable ideal, but accepting myself fully and completely. I walked through the city with a new energy, a lightness in my step, a sense of purpose guiding my way. The world seemed brighter, more vibrant, filled with endless possibilities. The noise no longer disturbed my peace. It faded into the background, like a distant hum. I had found my center, and from that place of stillness, I could navigate any storm. My intuition became my greatest strength, a guiding force that whispered truths and illuminated the path forward. It was a voice I had long ignored, but now I listened intently. A loving guide I could trust implicitly, without question or doubt. It was a source of unwavering support, a constant reminder that I was never truly alone. Trusting it became second nature, an effortless act of surrender to the wisdom within. It was like breathing, a natural and essential part of my being, guiding my choices toward alignment with my soul, ensuring that every decision was in harmony with my deepest values and aspirations. It was about living a life of purpose, a life that resonated with my authentic self. Life felt magical and meaningful. Every moment was infused with a sense of wonder and gratitude. The ordinary became extraordinary, the mundane transformed into the sacred. I noticed synchronicities and quiet messages from the universe, gentle nudges guiding me along my path. The universe was speaking to me, and I was finally listening. The crow remained my companion, a constant presence in my life, a reminder of the power of transformation. A symbol of transformation, of shedding the old and embracing the new, of soaring to new heights with newfound freedom. My tarot cards and journal, once mere objects, became sacred tools for ongoing self-discovery, instruments for unlocking hidden truths and gaining deeper insights into myself and the world around me. I learned the spiritual world is woven into daily life, not separate from it, but an integral part of every experience, waiting for us to notice, to awaken to the magic that surrounds us, to recognize the divine in the ordinary. The voice within is our birthright, a gift bestowed upon us at birth, a source of wisdom and guidance that is always available, always there, waiting to lead us home, not to a physical place, but to the sanctuary within ourselves, where we can find peace, love, and unwavering strength.